Welcome to the VC3 News Update. I am Shanette Hackshaw with the top local news stories. On this morning's face-to-face program on MBC Radio, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves addressed the problems with schools reopening, which includes the completion of school repairs, staffing, and requests for furniture, all of which he is working on and would be resolved.
I begin first of all with the schools. Well, the staffing arrangements, which are very important, are all in place. All the schools have been advised are opened, functioning. Today is the third day. Save and except the Peter Bedell Technical Institute, which I had indicated would be a week or so late. Because remember, that Technical Institute has now been refurbished, upgraded from what it was as a technical center now. And the Public Service Commission will be addressing this week, I expect, the position of the principal of that institution. I spoke yesterday to the permanent secretary, and he pointed out to me that there are one or two schools where some furniture which was requested had not been delivered, in part because of several reasons in the chain. Tardiness in ordering, the submission of requests, and also on the production line. But I'm told that everything is workable, even in one or two areas where it isn't perfect.
Dr. Gonsalves continued by saying that he had a phone call with a few people regarding the repairs because of circumstances that were out of their control.
There are a couple of little hiccups which I've had to make calls about, and I know the minister himself has been doing that. Like, for instance, you know, Johnny P., there may be an area which, and you know it also with your house, it would have been checked, you have a scope of works, and you identify during the time when you're doing your repairs that you need some other things to be done. Woodlights, for instance, appear somewhere. And they're dealt with while the persons are there doing the repairs. But there are some cases where the repairs have been completed. But between the time of the completion of the repairs and now, in an area you'd have some woodlice appear. And which is a problem we have, particularly the schools which are near to trees and the like now, vegetation. But they're all being dealt with.
Meanwhile, according to Prime Minister Gonsalves, the opposition New Democratic Party's solution to the problems facing Vincentian is a tax cut. Dr. Friday had recently called for a tax-free day for parents and guardians in regards to back-to-school shopping. Gonsalves said that during the time of the NDP, taxes were higher and there were less support systems for parents.
I touched on it last week. The leader of the opposition and the opposition generally in this country, they have a way. Their solution to anything, cut VAT, cut taxes. Never mind that the taxes were far higher then than now. Never mind the support systems which they had before we came to office was minimal. Support systems for students and for education. And now it is It has expanded and expanded under the education revolution. But their typical answer to anything, cut VAT, cut it on electricity, take it out, cut it by half. You know, Johnny P? Widen the range of products which are zero rated. And some of the things which they asked to be zero rated, already zero rated.
Dr. Gonsalves went on to say that cutting VAT in half will cause a loss of revenue for the government. He said when you're dealing with the support for education, it is important to have a targeted approach. He also spoke on the removal of VAT from electricity.
When you're dealing with supports for education, it is important that you have to target it. Last week, I dealt with the question of, they say, remove the VAT on electricity. Well, we removed the VAT. As I pointed out, you paid no VAT on 150 units a month. Last year, to 250 we put it. Now, at 150 was 70 little bit percent. Nearly 3/4 of the people didn't pay any VAT. When you carry it to 250, is 90-something% of the people don't pay any VAT, because I wanted to give a little ease on some of the hard-working middle-class people. Hard-pressed, some of them.
Gonsalves said that a zero-rated VAT would mean that the rich persons in society would be the ones to benefit. Still in our local news stories, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, will participate in the summit of the Group of 77, G77 plus China, to be held in Havana, the Cuban Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed on Monday. According to the Foreign Ministry of Cuba, the gathering would be a large and varied forum of discussing South-South cooperation plans. The summit will also be attended by presidents of Brazil, Argentina, Sri Lanka, Mozambique, and the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. On September 15 and 16, President Miguel Diaz-Canel of Cuba, who serves as the bloc's president pro tempore, will host a meeting that will allow member nations to work together and more closely and decide on particular collective measures to address current challenges. The G77 plus China, with 134 members, make up more than 2/3 of the UN's membership and represent 80% of the world's population. Mrs. Jean Johnny Findley on Tuesday collected a car on behalf of Delroy Fireman Hooper. The 2015 Suzuki Swift is an additional reward for winning the 2023 Soca Monarch competition. The Soca Monarch winner had previously received an automobile as one of the winning prizes. Mr. Hooper has captured the National Soca Monarch title 12 times. Chairman of the Carnival Development Corporation, Ricardo Adams, spoke briefly at the handing-over ceremony and said it was a pleasure to hand over the vehicle to Mrs. Johnny Findley.
It gives me great pleasure this afternoon to hand over the keys to this fire red Suzuki to Auntie Jean, who's wearing fire red lipstick this afternoon and collecting the prize for the Soca Monarch on behalf of Fireman Hooper. So it's a very fiery day. The sun is blazing down on us, and it really gives us great pleasure to be able to hand over these keys to Jean Johnny Findley on behalf of Fireman Hooper this afternoon.
There was no one sponsor for the automobile. Rather, the CDC got combined support from a large number of people, for which the CDC said it is eternally thankful. Mr. Adams said that he frequently received an automobile as part of his winnings. The vehicle is a 2015 Suzuki Swift, valued at $43,000. The vehicle is licensed and insured. On August 21, 2023, the Carnival Development Corporation prize-giving event took place. At the ceremony, winners of the several juried contests for Vinci Mass 2023 received their awards, including monetary rewards. And finally, on our local news stories, together with Red Roots SPG, a NGO, the St. Vincent Building and Loan Association provided school supplies to 3 underprivileged families with children. First-year intermediate high school students Antonio John and Delicia Francis, as well as Chateaubelair Methodist School student Roland Isaac, all received backpacks filled with school supplies as part of the Backpack Give Back initiative. The supplies included geometry sets, water bottles, drawing books, folders, notebooks, crayons, color pencil, exercise books, pencil case, pens, and pencils. The SVBL noted that re-entering the classroom environment can be stressful on its own, but re-entering a school without the necessary supplies can increase feelings of anxiety and concern. The financial institution further stated that helping children succeed today builds a better future for everyone, and that they are happy to be able to alleviate some of the pressures on families that need support, especially since many families spend hundreds of dollars to send their children back to school. Red Roots campaign and its support of the SVBLA, the Backpack Giveaway Initiative, exemplifies its unwavering dedication to ensuring that children have access to the resources they need to excel academically and thrive in their educational pursuits. Those are our local news stories. Continue watching on Channel 114 for regional and international news, along with the VC3 Sports Update.